It's not a Cappella, it's a Capello. Clear for liftoff. You got that one? Yep. Hey everybody, it's Ryan. Welcome back to How Farms Work. We are standing in front of the combine, and here we have a Capello corn head. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to figure out how to adapt the combine's hydraulics to the Capellos. So the Capello head is a corn head from Italy, and we need to adapt the hydraulics in the combine to fit Pioneer ends on the Capello corn head so that we can adjust the deck plates down here. The width is adjustable. So we're trying to figure out how to hook it up. We have plenty of time because we got a bunch of rain last night. We were kind of thinking that we'd be able to get out into the fields early this week, but the rain's pushing us back, and basically at this time, it's now November, so it's go time for the rest of our crops. This is a chopping corn head. So underneath, we've got blades that chop the stalk to grind them up. And I'm not sure if you can see them, but right there, in every other row, it's in every row, but the blades are positioned so that each row gets chopped as it goes through. So the horsepower requirement here is 5 horsepower per row, and then the choppers add another 3 horsepower per row. So if you're going to be running the choppers underneath the head, it's 8 horsepower per row total. Now the choppers we can shut off, so we're probably going to be doing a little bit of testing with that. You can shut each row off individually, and I think it'd be cool to kind of do like a test to see, like maybe put half of it, if depending on whether the combine can run them all. But it'd be cool to run even just 1 or 2 rows just to see the difference. And we have a couple no-till fields where I have one field in particular where I know I'd like to be able to run that, so I don't have to go through with the VT and lightly just knock the stalks down. Supposedly in field tests, the difference using those choppers was like 20 bushels in some spots. However, field testing could be different. But I'm looking forward to putting it to the test and seeing how she performs once the weather kind of cooperates and dries up to the point where we can get back out into the field, because there's standing water out there right now. The John Deere head that we're running right now, we've been using a wedge kit on, and we think that the wedge kit really did improve the pitch on the head itself, because it seemed like before ears were just flopping right back out onto the ground. And Dad said that it really made a difference as far as keeping the ears in the head. There's the chopper right there. This little lever right here, you can shut off each row individually. So right now it's in the on position, but if we pull it up, it'll lock as disengaged. So we'll have to tend to this when we take it out to the field and decide. I mean, I'd like to just turn them all on and see what happens, but once we get it completely hooked up, we'll give it a run and have a closer look at it. Cool. So that linkage right there is what moves the deck plates open and closed. So the advantage of being able to adjust the deck plates is that you can reduce the amount of head loss by making sure that they're just wide enough for the plants to go through, but any of the kernels, any of that butt shelling that goes on, hopefully it'll reduce that and encourage all the kernels and ears to go up into the head.
I like that it's actually got the cast here, and I'm assuming the stainless steel, or if it's just regular steel, but wear and tear over time I think is a lot better than just plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Actually gives it a little bit more support too, because granted, I hate to say it, but sometimes these stutes do meet the ground at a high rate of speed, and this would actually kind of support them from buckling back under, because that's what you'll typically see happen, is that they blow out on the sides here, and if this is here to kind of take more of that impact, your wear life I think is really increased. And these too, I noticed when you're at the end of these snoots, granted I know you could go through and paint them on other heads, but just from sitting in the cab, when you're running after dark, your lights are going to reflect off these, and it makes it a lot easier to run after dark, at least so you're not running them into the ground.
She's all hooked up and ready to go. We're going to go ahead and fire it up, and I think that the field is dried up enough to where we can actually get out and try to run something through. So we're going to fire this up, test run it, and then head out and start harvesting. Now we'll just have to fill up the truck and the grain cart, and then I'll have to take it tomorrow morning, because Gavilan's only taking corn until 4 o'clock this afternoon, and this took up a good part of the day to get everything situated for. He had to run back down to Dubuque and get the knuckles changed, because they had a 1,000 and no, they had a 540 and it needed 1,000, and it had a hex on the other side, so they had to switch the 540s out on the other side of the shafts. But everything is hooked up now and ready to go. Looks like we're Gucci.
So about anywhere from 17 to 20 degrees, and you're right at 17 right now, so
Okay.
that's pretty flat.
Bazinga! Starts like a dime. I'm gonna let this warm up for now while we're getting the first load. Travis is running the 82, and I'm filming. So I'm gonna pull this after the first load up into the gravel more, because it is super wet. If we load it in the wrong spot, I'm afraid that I'm gonna get stuck, because it is pretty much 100% muck right here. Here's the job that the choppers are doing. Seems to me like the head's running just fine with the choppers on, so in my opinion we should just leave them on. So I just pulled the semi out of the way and I'm parking it until morning. I'll shut it down. Now, I think tomorrow, first thing in the morning, I'm going to take this down to Dubuque and we're going to start going full bore because the moisture right now is running 22%, which is what it was running last week. With all the rain and snow that we've gotten, you know, it's reached a point where it's not really going to dry much more, I think. So we'll just have to play it by ear, but as long as we don't get into any real hilly places, I think we'll be fine tomorrow. And then depending on how much more the ground dries the following day, which they're calling for an inch of snow right now, I think after 2 days we'll be able to go into our more hilly areas. On the flat ground here, I mean, it's not really as bad because as long as it's dry on top, you know, you can have a bit of moisture in there and be fine. I mean, the wheels will collect some dirt, but it's really not that big of an issue. What happens is when you break traction, for example, down at Travis's place, I was back in the 40, and it quit raining like 3 days beforehand. The ground was dry, but underneath it was still pretty wet. And I was going up the field road, and I broke traction on the wheels, and the tractor and the grain cart itself like started sliding back into the left. Luckily, I got out. I mean, I wasn't stuck by any means. It was just one of those things where it's like, oh! We keep saying it. The last few years we've been running one farm where it was pretty much like that, and I am so thankful that this year we do not have that farm because I don't know how we would have gotten the crops off of that field. Even last year it was sketchy on dry days trying to go down the hill with the grain cart half loaded. So anyway, I'm gonna take the Gator back out and see how they're coming along. Big Red's been running great. I mean, I've had quite a few issues with it in the first year, but over time I'm starting to iron some of those things out. You know, I haven't had any more issues with the truck shutting down going through intersections anymore. I actually haven't had that happen once. I think a big part of it was the fuel. So those wheels are loose on there, but you can still see even now there's a bunch of grit and grime along that rail. So just got to keep that rail clean, and it actually opens really a lot. I wouldn't say easy, but it opens a lot easier. I don't have to put all my weight into opening up the door. So I'm looking forward to getting all the crops out. Is that the Capello head? Can you guys hear that? That baby is roaring. Wow. Now we're in a part of the field that was harvested partially by the John Deere head, but also by the Capello head. And you can see the difference in stalk height here. Where the Capello was, the stalks are much more clean as compared to being shredded over here. And where the John Deere head harvested, it was about, I'd say the stalks are about twice as tall. So that gets the stalks down even closer to the ground, and hopefully should improve no-till situations as well as tillage situations as well. We were just talking about how typically we have to go through with the VT or a disc and disc down the stalks before we go through and chisel plow. However, with what we're passing over with the Capello, I'm pretty sure that we don't have to worry about hitting it with the VT first. I don't think these stalks will block up the chisel plow. I like the job that it's doing as far as chopping the stalks down. How's it running?
250, 260.
How's the cornhead running?
Oh, awesome. It runs so quiet, sometimes you don't even realize you don't have it on.
Really? Because with those choppers on, you can hear you all the way back to the farm.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like a whoo. It's like, oh crap, is that the combine?
It's a lot quieter in here.
But
It seems like a really good head.
Do the choppers seem to bog it down at all? No.
It's good. He was shocked that it was handling the chopping so well. He said, you can't even tell it's chopping it. Nope.
The strip's maintaining 300. We just harvested about a semi-load and a half. Travis has about 30,000 pounds on. He already filled up the semi, so the first thing in the morning I'm going to take that down to Dubuque. And then pretty much from there it's go time as far as I'm concerned. They are still calling for snow tomorrow, but I'm not really worried that that's going to hold us back very much because they are still calling for a lot of dry weather here in the next 2 weeks, and I'm hoping that we can get a lot of that done. We still have to transfer the corn from the Sioux over to the Sukup bin, but I think that we can do that as long as we get that done before we start harvesting out of my place or finish down at Travis's place, because we'll probably still cart all that corn back up to here and then leave that in the Sioux bin and then just send the rest down. For right now, we're just sending everything down to the river. The moisture was running 22%, and the average for this variety on this farm, which is 9508, is 245.5, which is a really good yield. I want to thank Capello for sending this head down to us. So far, I am really liking the chopping on it. It really makes a difference as far as how much residue is left and how much you can grind up. And I think that what is going into no-till, or what is in no-till of mine, it's going to work great for. I would like to see it a little bit closer down to the ground. The closer you get the head to the ground, you know, the shorter that residue is going to be. But the thing is, ditches, they can't really be helped, and you kind of have to tread a fine line between wanting to get the head as low as you can to keep that residue down, or to keep it up and not run the risk of, you know, hitting a ditch, even a small one, and potentially damaging those snoots on the end. So we're going to take everything back to the building and park it for tonight. And that's pretty much it for this video. So thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out all of our other videos. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, all how farmers work. And be sure to tell me how you feel about the Capella head down in the comment section. I'll be selecting one person to win a How Farms Work hat that we're giving away. With that, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Having